If you tend to live your life just on the verge of being okay, then spend a few minutes with me because I really want to talk about this from the perspective of some of the things that we can do really practically to build some buffers into our lives. So I work with a financial advisor, and her advice is to have like 3 to 6 months of money as a financial buffer. And generally we're taught and we learn like financial buffers are a good idea. But what about the other buffers in our lives that really make a difference? Like the resilience buffers or the time buffers. And I want to give some analogies to put this in context. So the analogy that I use is like the pint glass. If your pint glass is full, so there's loads of stuff in there that you have to take care of, anything else that goes into the top of the pint glass is going to spill over. And so actually what you want to do is have some space in the pint glass, so when life inevitably happens, as it always does, there is that space, there's that buffer in place that means that you don't spill over. And my husband uses a slightly different analogy of, if you think of yourself as being in like a parachute floating over the water, if there's lots and lots of gap between you and the water in the parachute, then if stuff happens and you drop down a little bit, then you're okay. But if you're skimming the surface of the water and then stuff happens, then you're going to drown. And I think it's so important that we start to think about how to build in these buffers and ensuring that we do have these buffers in place, because a lot of the time what we try and do instead is to control and manage all of the outcomes and all of the aspects of our lives and all of the people around us. But the truth is we cannot really control those things, so shit is still going to happen, and if we haven't got that buffer in place, that's when we're going to get ourselves into trouble. And what happens so often is we get ourselves into trouble, then we're like, oh, I need to do something about this because I'm in trouble now. We get ourselves back to baseline, but only back to baseline. And then the next time the thing happens, we're sunk again. And so another thing to really think about is building from a place of, okay, I'm in trouble now, I need to get back to baseline. But then from there, okay, I feel strong now. How do I now go about feeling stronger and stronger and stronger? So there's more space in the pint glass, I'm higher above the water, whatever analogy works for you best, so that when life inevitably throws its curveballs at you, you have the space there to deal with it without it completely flooring you. I think it's such a common misconception that we have to be in the shit in order to want to do the work, to grow stronger, to feel better. Honestly, the best place to do this work is from a place of feeling strong, because you haven't got the build-up process. But if you're in a place of, well, I don't feel great right now, get yourself back to baseline and then keep going, because it's when you keep going that the exponential results start to really kick in. And then when life happens, it doesn't completely floor you. So I want you to have a think about for yourself, what are the buffers that you might need to put in place in your life? How can you start to do this? You don't need to make it difficult. And if you want any support with this and you're in a place of like, this is something that I need to look at, please get in touch. Let's have a conversation about how I can support you. Have a lovely day, and I hope the sun is shining where you are.